And we're live once again. Hi there. Welcome, everybody, to Cast Iron Wednesday, which is a weekly tradition on this YouTube channel. We've been doing this now for almost 3 years, believe it or not, and I'm finding it hard to believe. Quite a few quite a few cooking channels here on YouTube have a tradition of doing a cast iron video on Wednesday, and that, of course, is why they call it, well, Cast Iron Wednesday. We do it, of course, because it's fun and it gives us an excuse to play with cast irons. So there's certainly nothing wrong with that, especially since it seems to be most of the smaller cooking channels that do this Cast Iron Wednesday. I have yet to hear about Cast Iron Wednesday from those big cooking channels with 5 and 6 million followers on them. So, but nonetheless, folks do seem to like it because you do all seem to be showing up regularly every week, such as Miss French Twist, who has so many number 8s it ain't funny. Hello, good evening, Miss French Twist. And Dan and Jimmy Langford and R.T. Scott and Alma Wasilewski. Hello, Rocket Caver and Rick Stumbow. And hello, Cast Iron Fanatic and Val's Black Cat's Rules. And hello, Papa Dan and Mike Washburn. A lot of familiar names here tonight. And I'm always glad to see you folks coming back. I'm likewise glad to see new people coming here every whenever they do, and I hope you're kind enough to stick around as well. And hello to the Mudbrooker. Found an interesting skillet today. It's a BS&R, made from a BS&R, and has a smallish 8 followed by a short line over 4 dots. I think I've seen that one on the BS&R group. Would that happen to be in the 8 o'clock position by any chance on the pan? Because they actually call that the 8 o'clock pan. It's somewhat known as a Red Mountain handwritten pan because there have actually been a few of those showing up on that Facebook group. Hello to Miss French Twist and Cynthia Wesley and everybody else. But yeah, here we are now. This week we are looking at another piece of modern cast iron. Oh, this is interesting. So far, this handle here is still nice and cool. I don't feel any heat at this part of the handle. And what is this? This is a Lodge Blacklock skillet, namely their newer Blacklock skillet. That is one of their elite line of cast iron pans that they started producing. What is it now? Going about 3 or 4 years, I believe. I'm convinced, even though they've never said so, I'm convinced Lodge specifically designed the Blacklock line to compete with these new elite cast iron manufacturers that have been coming out every other week. You know, the ones with Field and Stargazer and Grizzly and Butter Pat and Marquette and so many others. The ones who are selling who are doing these really, really nicely designed cast iron pans. So Lodge, I guess, had entered the market as well and produced this series with Blacklock, which of course was named after the original Blacklock foundry, even though these pans look absolutely nothing like the original Blacklock pans. But hey, nothing wrong with continuing that legacy. I have had this. Well, no, actually, this is the second one. I ordered one of the Blacklock skillets pretty much as soon as it came out on the market, and I liked it. I ended up giving it away when I moved last year, but I had a need for a chef's skillet. And so that's why I brought this one. That I had to get a second one. And yes, that's just it. I like this pan as a chef skillet. This is a 10-inch Blacklock skillet, and it is in fact completely compatible with Lodge's lids. This is a vintage Lodge lid right here that fits on this pan like a glove. So that's how large this pan is. And yes, it has a nice, it's a shallow pan with a nice rounded bottom here. This thing I find makes a really great chef skillet. And of course, that's one reason why I decided I would be playing around with omelettes tonight. And you all folks get to see how terrible I am at making omelets. I've done it before, even as recently as last week, but well, all I can do is keep on practicing and see how well or how terrible things go here. Yes, and Cabela's Bass Pro Shop has some Blacklock cookware. Happy Cast Iron Wednesday to John Surf 5. Yes, and hello, and nice to see you here as well. Vintage Blacklock is the only Lodge I like. Nobody really knows what the original Blacklock really looks like. I mean, there are guesses that they're similar to the earliest generation of Lodge. There are also guesses that the Blacklock series may even have been gate marked, since after all they were produced as early as, I believe it was 1896. You know, the date when Lodge says that that the company was first founded. Um, but no, because the Blacklock foundry records were lost, nobody really can absolutely point to any particular pan and say 100% this is a Blacklock, except for those very, very few cast iron pieces found over the year that actually have the Blacklock foundry logo on it. I believe a couple of them are in the Lodge Cast Iron Museum. Nonetheless, as I said, I see no problem at all with using this, as with continuing their legacy, and that's pretty much what Lodge is doing here. So, well, might as well get started here, and let's see what we've done. I've been wanting to get a BS&R chef skillet. Yeah, I missed an opportunity to get a BS&R chef skillet last fall. I haven't told that story yet. But before we do, I think I should get started here and actually start playing with and actually start doing an omelet here, because that's what I would that's what I promised. So let's get started. All right, that means one, actually remember to get a bowl for my eggshells. Two, I also picked up an 18 pack of eggs yesterday, so I have no shortage of eggs to play around with tonight. Three, by the way, this 18 pack of eggs was, I think it was $4.99 at Price Chopper, which is still like more expensive than it used to be. But it's no longer gold. It's not like $8 or $9. So really, the cost of eggs has actually come down to a somewhat affordable level. Thank goodness. I'm actually quite pleased to see that. I think I could turn. Boy, there's smoke coming from this pan, and I don't even have this thing at halfway. Okay, well, I'll turn it down a little bit more, because you know you got to be careful with eggs. Nonetheless, the two things I need to do. One is I need to run just a dab of water, no more than like maybe not even a teaspoon of water in these eggs to loosen them up. And the other, of course, is to start spreading something around on the pan to cook these eggs. So let's do that. Let's get another fork here and start throwing in. Yeah, this is definitely hot, unfortunately. I'm off to a wonderful start here. I have to say, this Blacklock pan sure heated up really fast. In fact, because I just turned on the heat pretty much before I started going live. Boy, I'm surprised how much smoke I'm getting off of this. I'm gonna have to be careful here. Let me turn this heat really down, in fact, because yeah, no, I really do not want to burn these eggs. That's for sure. Nonetheless, all right. So water in the egg makes for a fluffier egg. Yeah, that was a trick I actually learned from a chef. In fact, going on about a little more than 10 years ago, he told me that, and that's one of those things that I never forgot. So there we go. Off to a decent start. There are several different kinds of omelets, and I don't know, maybe I'll be dumb and try each one of them. You know, like as mentioned last week, there's simply the fold over. Oh, good grief! Hold on, I was not expecting that. Ah, stupid piece of crap. Son of a. Oh, shut up. All right. Ugh. Well, I certainly was not expecting that with an omelet, that's for sure. On the other hand, I also did take your advice, folks, and I'm trying a different spatula on this. So, as a matter of fact, I'm already at almost just about at the point where I can start. I can actually add my ingredients. So let's very quickly. What do we have here? But some mushrooms. I love mushrooms. Any excuse to use mushrooms is a good one. And of course, the cheese. All right. All right. I have to say, this is actually going faster than I expected, but nonetheless, a little bit here, a little bit there. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the smaller shredded cheese at the store, so I had to go with this stuff. But get this ready. And yeah, okay, well, that's good. I mean, definitely no sticking. I can say that much at least. Nonetheless, come on. Here comes the fun part. And just about. There we go. Not perfect, unfortunately. I did not quite fold it enough. Maybe if I push it out a little bit. Yeah, that's not so bad. There we go. On the other hand, it looks like I kind of broke on this end. So that means I'm going to have to pretty much fake it. And that's the other thing about omelets. If you do it right, you can tip it over. Come on. Ooh, that's actually getting hot now. But still, that's not a bad start. And that's, I guess, you could call your basic omelet there. So, the simple folded in half omelet. And yeah, that was really no difficulty at all. But of course, there are other kinds of omelets. Nonetheless, hello. I use a table knife to help out with the spatula. Yeah, I could actually do that. I do actually have a second spatula, which I could very well have used. Got the fish spatula. Yes, I did. I took your advice last week, in fact, and went out and looked for one. It wasn't too expensive, but I did actually have to go to a restaurant store to find this. Apparently, this is not the type of thing that they normally sell at Wally World. So, but then that's okay. Any excuse not to go to Wally World is a good one. So, yeah. So, anyway, there you go. End of video. Good night, folks. No, I'm kidding. Actually, yeah, I'm a hobbit when it comes to mushrooms. Yes, exactly. So, so far so good, and we've already had my my smoke detector go off once. I can only hope that that doesn't happen again. Yeah, made one so large a few days ago that I had to use two spatulas. I'm sure that actually sounds pretty tempting if you ask me, but still, yeah, your very basic omelet is not a bad thing. Okay. And I think, to be honest, that may be the first time I've simply folded an omelet in half. As far as I can remember, every single time I have tried making omelets, I wanted to be fancy, and I tried doing it the triple fold, the three-way omelet. In fact, I've got to break out a couple more plates here. So that with the next omelet, I can put that into a fresh plate. There we go. So we've got plenty of plates here. Nonetheless, Cynthia Wesley, when I was what I was doing 2 years ago, I haven't had much chance to come these last weeks, but it's always going fine around here. Well, I'm glad to hear that, Bruno. Now I need to find a BS&R and Griswold chef skillet. Yes. Yeah, as I mentioned, last year, shortly before I moved here, in fact, no, shortly after I moved here, in fact, I went to a flea market in the area that is very good, and yeah, they were very good too. Um, and lo and behold, at that flea market, I did indeed find a BS&R chef skillet. The 10 chef, and I was shocked to find it. And so, unfortunately, silly me, I did not have any cash in my wallet at that moment because I really wasn't expecting to find anything, which meant I had to go run and drive about a quarter mile to the store, to the local Dollar General, so that I could get some cash and come back. And of course, by the time I came back, yes, it was gone. I missed my opportunity, unfortunately. My bad. So because of that, currently my chef skillet is still this Blacklock skillet. I mean, maybe I'll be lucky and come across another. Oh, nuts, off to another good start. Maybe I'll be lucky and come across another BS&R chef skillet at some point. That's one. That's two. And then three. Yeah, I'm not just going to repeat the same folded over omelet every time. I think I'm going to be silly and try to experiment because, well, it'll give you folks some more entertainment, if nothing else. So that means the next one, I think I will try once again and make another attempt at a three-way. I've actually had some success with three-way omelets. Last week was one of my least successful ones, which is kind of like, I don't know if you'd call it restaurant style or French style or both. Um, I have not had omelets very often at restaurants, but the ones I do know, of the ones I have had, they were in fact folded over three times. So I think that's one reason why I've been trying especially to make just that, the tri-fold omelet. There we go. Here comes number two. And we will go from there. I like chorizo and green chili omelet. Yes, indeed. Chaos alarm. Yep. I really like 4-in-1 skillet lid. Well, congratulations on that, Pawpaw Dan. And here's hoping somebody got that popover pan over on the Goodwill site too. I figure it should be ending right. Well, actually, right. Not even right about now. It's only been. We're only at about 17 minutes in here. So, nonetheless, just before this video went live tonight, I was actually browsing the Shop Goodwill site, and I saw what they called a cast iron bakeware set, which had a $9.99 bid, and apparently there were no bids on it yet, and it was tempting because you know what was they were bidding on for what they were offering for $9.99, two vintage pans, one of which was a BS&R popover pan or muffin pan. The other one was one of those heart-shaped muffin pans, which I'm told, according to Cynthia, may actually be from Martin. So that's something to consider there. Boy, this thing is certainly hard. This thing is certainly getting nice. I'm thinking we may already be at the point where we get to throw in some more of the cheese. Put it right down the center this time. And a little bit more. There we go. Plenty of cheese. And a couple more mushrooms. And we will go from there, I think. I'm actually using canned mushrooms this time. Okay. Okay, now from here we go. This is where we do this right. I'm breaking it already. Pain in the butt. Okay, I'm doing it wrong. Oh, maybe not. It's a little awkward, but it looks like we got it. Now, let's just, using this one, let's slide it around. There we go. Turn it around. And, all right, even though it's still not perfect, this is actually also not turning out too badly. Put the rest of these pieces in here. Come on. There we go. Not a bad start. Which means from here's the thing. And I think this thing's getting hot enough and I'm going to have to pull out a glove again. But now we get to do, actually, what I need to do is turn this around a little bit There we go. By the way, notice there's no sticking at all in this modern so-called rough lodge skillet. So, I mean, really, well, you folks, I know you've heard this and you've done this enough times. You know very well that the real secret to the eggs is temperature control. It's not having to do with grinding down a skillet as much as, even though it's nice indeed to cook in a glass smooth Griswold, yeah, I don't think this thing came out too badly. So, so far, yeah, there we go. This is not bad actually, if I may say so, if you don't mind. This was a trifold omelet too, but yeah, notice as I said, that thing slid out of the pan with no difficulty at all. So far, I've made two omelets, and the hardest part has in fact been folding them, as opposed to some. But nonetheless, there's been no problem at all with sticking. So even though, yeah, when the Blacklock series came out, yes, there was the usual complaint from the people who always say that Lodge should smooth out their surface. They say, why are you selling this pan at such a high price when you're not grinding down the surface like the others? And well, number one, as we could see, you don't have to. There really is no need. I mean, Lodge does in fact smooth out their surface, and so this actually turns out just fine. And yeah, it's known. Those of us who have seen actually the Lodge manufacturing process in at work, they all know very well that Lodge really does actually smooth down the surfaces of their pans. It's just that they don't use a grinder anymore. They run it through a centrifuge that is full of thousands of roundish or UFO-shaped pieces of very heavy metal shot, and it actually pounds down the surface of the pan instead of grinding it. So stainless steel came out in 1913. I wonder what they boiled things back in the day. Well, yeah, that was that. There was aluminum, yes, and but yeah, that's true. They certainly did boil in cast iron. Um, and I guess that gets down to the fact that yes, you can actually use cast iron to boil water. You can use cast iron to make tomatoes. It is true though that if you exclusively boil water and make tomatoes in your cast iron, it will affect the seasoning. I mean, there is no denying about that. But nonetheless, on the other hand, you figure that when the family cooking pots were all cast iron back in the day, they were constantly rotating. I mean, I don't think they were making stews every single day. So if it wasn't for my neighbors, I would invest in some chickens. I love eggs, and I don't blame you at all. So no aluminum. All right, boy, we're only 20 minutes in, and I've got two omelets done already. This is actually going pretty fast. So yeah, I'm gonna really have to start talking to make up some time. So anyway, once again, this is the trifold omelet, which turned out pretty easy. And this, of course, was the first omelet. This was simply the double fold omelet. Both of these are three egg omelets. Apparently, three eggs is about the best size. I mean, people can, of course, make omelets with 4, 8, 12 eggs if they want. But so far, I mean, as I said, I'm quite happy with just using three eggs in my omelets here. So, hmm. And it turns okra black too. Share the eggs. I have chickens. I get some salsa on that. Wish it was Martin. Okay. Sport enameled steel pots. Yes, that's true. They were doing enamel even as far back as the 1800s, although unfortunately they were regularly using lead in the enamel glaze back in those days. So my understanding is that they stopped. Is that cookware makers, including Griswold, Griswold is famous for its enameled pans. Cookware makers, I understand they did actually remove lead from their enamel in the early 20th century. I know that granite ware actually started making a name for itself by making enamel without lead. And in fact, I've seen newspaper advertisements in the from the early 20th century that describe it as poison free. In other words, no lead in those enameled pans. So yeah, they certainly were aware of it in those days. Oops, here we go again. By the way, I'm actually using margarine here as to rather than real butter to do this, because I actually like cooking with margarine. You figure as well, margarine really is made from vegetable oil. In other words, it's actually good for cooking because it's just that, it's vegetable oil. And so that means it's not as likely to burn as butter, and yet it still gives a buttery taste to it. So I don't have a problem with using margarine. And I've already said before, I am not a fan of scare stories about evil toxins and poisons in your food. I laugh at just about all of them. And that includes the one about margarine, because no, margarine was not made originally to fatten turkeys. Margarine is not one molecule removed from plastic. That means absolutely nothing. And margarine does not cause cancer and all the rest of that, especially since they actually removed trans fats from most foods, including margarine, so about 20 or so years ago. So that's about all I'll say about that. So eat the evidence. Okay, well, let's get ready, I guess, for omelet number 3. And here's where I think I'm going to try. And once again, I'm going to try something a little bit different. And there it goes, the shell again. That's the other thing. I always crack my eggs and end up getting shell in them. Nonetheless, okay, there's 1, here's 2. There we go. Of course, probably the fact that I'm using supermarket eggs are another reason why these eggs are not breaking very well. Because, yeah, I know you can compare farm fresh eggs to supermarket eggs. That's another thing that I'm really not going to get into. I'm only mentioning it just because of the fact that, that I have such difficulty breaking these eggs here. I'll get into the morality about that some other time. We're not here to argue over things like that on this channel. I'm here to, as I said, to have fun and hopefully to entertain folks. Nonetheless, let's get this going, and I'm going to do something a little different this time. Those of you who know eggs or know omelets probably know what I'm about to try, and that would be French style. And to do that, you pour it in, and you immediately start whisking it around. There we go, as quickly as you can. And especially since I might still have this thing turned up too high, it's not taking long at all for this to congeal. Nonetheless, this is how they're supposed to be doing it in France. And I've been trying to practice this too on my own. And so far, I have not had a lot of luck, unfortunately. Yeah, I know about Jacques Pepin, the famous French chef, and his omelettes, which, as you can see, I am having difficulty imitating. Basically, I'm trying to get it so that we don't have any liquid here as best as I can. Which point now, let's quickly throw in a little bit more cheese. Trying to do this as quickly as I can. And now that we've done that, all right, what we're supposed to be able to do, and this time I'm using this one, is roll it over. Supposedly. But again, I am not having much luck, regrettably. Because now that we've done that, roll it over again and again, and then we're supposed to be able to roll it out onto the plate. Except, oh, good grief. Of course, now it would be now that it's stuck. Oh, hot, hot, hot. Stupid. Okay, well, that didn't work. All right. So anyway, now I've got a little bit more. And before it really completely sticks, so yet again, I've made an attempt at a French omelet. And unfortunately, this has been nowhere near successful. I'm sorry to say, I've got scrambled eggs here. Well, I could always give it another try, and maybe I will. All right, I think I'll put this one on the plate here next to one of the other omelets. There we go. So that way I'll have another plate. Nonetheless, but yeah, I mean, as I said, I'm sure some of you have seen the way they do those French omelets. I usually use 3 eggs in omelets, and yes, and that's exactly what I'm doing. Should have been out of the pan already. French omelets cook almost immediately and need to be soft inside. Well, let me take a closer look here. You need to be soft inside. You need a screaming hot pan and some clarified butter. Okay, well, I will have to take a note of that. I actually do have ghee in the fridge for whatever that's worth. Although, again, I'm using margarine here anyway, so really there's no milk fat or butter fat in this either. However, from what you say, I should probably turn up the heat a little bit. And I guess I can make one more attempt. And after that, I think I'll probably talk a little while here because I'm already going on to my 4th omelet, and that's 12 eggs. And no, I'm definitely not going to be eating all of these myself tonight. That's for sure. So, all right. Even so, I'm glad I got this pack of eggs. Okay, that's 2. And now 3. But I heard what you said, though, about how, yeah, I need a hotter pan, and I am definitely heating it up. And apparently, speed is the trick that I need to master. That plus, there we go. Plus, being able to properly roll it over. Anyway, all we're doing is mixing it up once again. And throw in just a dab of water, no more than that. And we will see how well this works or how terrible this works. I haven't put any more oil in the pan yet. Before we do so, it would be easier with a French carbon omelet pan as they have no ridge in the sidewall. Well, there is that. If I understand right, it's like those crepe pans, and they are even smaller than this. So, clarified butter has a high smoke point. All right, well, let me see. I guess all I can do is give it another shot. So let's get this ready. Start throwing this in the pan. Get ready for more smoke, I'm sure. Definitely a screaming hot pan, I'll say that much. And this is why right now I'm glad I'm not using butter here, I'm just using margarine. But I'm taking your advice, and we're trying it in a screaming hot pan, and I'm going to try to do this as fast as possible. In fact, let me get the other plate out so that I'll have it. All right. That means go once again. Okay, a little bit here, a little bit there. 2 things. Okay, gotta do this fast. That means now let's throw in the cheese as quickly as I can. A little bit of that. There we go. And now from here. All right. Now here we go again. And I've already messed it up, haven't I? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have. Oops, get the glove, get the glove. Here we go. Oh, don't give up. Little by little by little. Come on. Damn it. All right. Blowing it again. Oh, well. Let's move over here. Come on. Come on, you bugger. Actually, my other mistake is I turned it around. I should have turned it on its side. Ugh. Well, not a bad omelet, even though it's browned, and French omelets are not supposed to be browned. So, no, I mean, if I were trying to make a French omelet, I mean, they would definitely not give this a passing grade, unfortunately. Too bad. Oh, well. Well, again, all I can do is keep practicing. At least, if nothing else, again, we've got the traditional American style omelets, of which this really isn't too bad. I like the way that it actually shrinks on the ends there. So, but still, that's 4 omelets already. So I'm definitely going to have to pad for time here. But there it goes. Why is your stove flame so orange? Good point. There seems to be, I think maybe there's some air perhaps in the pipes where there shouldn't be, because this is actually different. Usually, I mean, usually I have a much more blue flame than I do now. So I am a little surprised as well. I'm wondering if there's something I might need to check on the stove, but I hope not. Even so, yeah, well, okay, well, thank you very much, Cast Iron Fanatic. I mean, I will be the first to admit that it wasn't so great, but I mean, it's edible. All I can do is keep on practicing. I mean, there's really not much more I can say about that. And besides, I've got plenty of omelets now. So here's the fold over omelet, and here was the first attempt at the French omelet. And here is the first trifold omelet and the second attempt at the French omelet. Oh well. So it goes. You know, too much oxygen, you can adjust it on your stove. Yes. Did you get butter on the burner? Well, that might be a point. Perhaps there might have been some oil. I was not using butter on this, although you are right in that it did seem to be dripping down the sides. So maybe that might be the reason why here. Chef Jean Pierre uses 270 to 275 degree pan, mix 60 to 90 seconds, turn heat off, wait for the cheese to melt, gently fold 1/3, then scoot to the edge of the pan and roll over onto the plate. Learn to cuss, and that'll probably help. I will take all of this advice to heart. I can definitely say that. So, nonetheless, if nothing else, as I said, I'm still liking this Blacklock skillet. It is starting to get hot here on the end, and I should not be gripping it with with my bare hands anymore. Although, as you can see, I have not given myself a burn or anything like that, but I can definitely feel the heat now. So it did take a while though for the end of this handle to heat up. Anyway, but yeah, as I said, as far as a chef skillet is concerned, I don't think this is too badly. I do know Lodge is actually making a modern day cast iron chef skillet as well as their Blacklock pan here. This is really is just advertised as a Blacklock 10-inch skillet. It's not advertising it as a chef skillet. So all of the pieces in their Blacklock line are actually shaped this way. I like it for use as a breakfast skillet myself. So Rick D went on a cruise and shared a mean recipe of salsa. Oh, that sounds good too. Join the dark side someday and get a DeBuyer carbon pan for omelets. Maybe someday, who knows? Maybe if I come across one cheap, it's not impossible. So I'm still mostly a bargain hunter. I have made some exceptions. I did make an exception for the Blacklock pan. Um, and I will admit, I actually bought this one at full price from the large store, which is something I rarely do for a cast iron pan. This may be one of the few instances where I paid more than $20, I guess, for a cast iron pan. Yeah, I mean, just about all I've been lucky enough. Just about all of the pieces in my collection I've been able to get at bargains in one way or another. So that's a really big skillet for 3 eggs. Well, that's true. I suppose there's the other possibility in that I did bring this out and I was debating whether or not I should play with it tonight. What is this? This is a Griswold number 6, which is considerably smaller than the than this 10-inch skillet, as you can see. But on the other hand, it is shaped more like a skillet and less like a chef skillet. Hmm. Did a round trip to Atlanta. Was able to stop at the Lodge store twice. Hopefully not the last. I have one of the Pro Series chef skillet style. Do not like at all. Oh, really? Oh, wait Pro Series. I'm not sure which one you mean. I'm able to help eat the omelets. Yeah, I'm definitely going to need help eating the omelets. That's for sure. Especially since I am making an attempt to lose weight, and well, I'm starting to finally make a little bit of progress. I'll talk about that again at some other time. I will say that. So my mat for crepe pan makes for great omelets too. I use a 5. Was that a groove handle, Griswold? Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, I'm afraid not. This is a standard handle Griswold, so I'm afraid I have not yet been able to find a groove handle Griswold. That's one of those things. Maybe if I manage to somehow get lucky and come across one at a bargain price, I might indeed pick it up. But I'm not going to go out of my way and pay the ridiculous price that most vendors are selling for a Griswold just to get one with a groove handle. But that's only because I don't need it. So, but again, that's just me. I'm sorry to say. So, yeah. Still, we are not doing too badly right now. That looks too heavy to wrist flip the eggs. Are you referring to the Griswold here? Yeah. I will say, yeah. I mean, even though Griswold is light and smooth, it is still cast iron. That's for sure. This one here is, yep. Definitely got to use the oven. I mean, sorry, use the glove. But yeah, this is definitely warm. I mean, heavy. There's no denying about that. It is still a cast iron pan, even though it is very thin and light for a cast iron pan. It is still cast iron, so flipping is still difficult. I'm going to turn off the heat on this thing, in fact, at this point, so that I don't burn this egg residue here. So I have the groove handle mud in the closet catching dust. Oh, well, my condolences on that, Cynthia. Well, the best I could say is take it out and make an omelet with it so that way you'll be able to freshen it up. I've been doing my best to try to work through my pans for especially that reason. And so far, I don't think I've done too badly. I have a carbon steel skillet with an Eiffel Tower handle on it. It's pretty neat looking, but it's got a weird handle. That sounds like it might have actually been made as a souvenir, perhaps. Red dog. Mudbrooker, I have an 8 and a 3 groove handle. Got them cheap. And congratulations for that. And hello, New England Vermonter. Nice to see you here. So, yeah, I mean, this has been going pretty fast here. I mean, we're 45 minutes in, and I've already made 4 omelets, unfortunately. Well, maybe 3.5 omelets, I guess you could say, because, yeah, here we go. Here again is a regular folded, yeah, an American, typical folded over omelet. This was my first attempt at doing a French style omelet tonight, and did not turn out so well. These other 2 omelets turned out a little better. A typical tri-folded omelet and a second attempt at a French style omelet, but it's too brown, as you can see. So I still did not get it right. No Griswold for me. I missed omelets. Yeah, we've actually managed to go through 4 omelets very fast here too. So I'm a little surprised how fast it was. Actually, yeah, from what you said about a 250 to 275 pan, I'm going to see what I can do about that. Let's break out the thermometer here. This thing here is still saying 350, and I have the heat turned off. So maybe when this thing gets down to about 275, well, I could always take your advice and see whether or not it turns out okay. So you have time to make biscuits now. Well, there is that. Although I do need to actually break out my flour for that. So I think mine is a 6. I'm gonna see right quick. But yeah, as I said, I think my fourth omelet, I will take your advice and try cooling this pan down, so that instead of using a hot pan, I'm going to use a cooler pan and see how well that works. So pan needs to be really, well, here again, pan needs to be really hot for a French omelet. Okay, so I've had two people say a hot pan and one person say a cool pan. I mean, I've turned off the heat on this pan right now, and right now we are down to just about 300 degrees. So I could either turn the heat back on and heat it up, or let it cool off again and try from there. I'm thinking you're probably right. Well, the thing is about the screaming hot pan, that would brown the eggs, and you don't want to brown the eggs in a French omelet. It's supposed to be creamy, and it's supposed to be yellow or even white if you can manage that. So I'm not so sure. Cool pan for traditional, hot for French, they say. I got my first and only Griswold when my dad passed in 2015. He left it outside to rust. Had some cleaning to do, but it was worth it. Well, congratulations, Dan. And oil uh, doesn't burn. That will turn it brown. Okay. So based on that, that's why it's done in like 40 seconds. Okay, I see the point where you're saying, which means from what you're saying, I should actually turn this thing back on right now. Okay, so I am turning it back on. Hmm. I guess it looks like here I am surprised as well that you are correct. There's a lot more orange flame on this than I've seen before. And I'm wondering if maybe, well, perhaps I could clean the burners after tonight and see if that helps. Otherwise, there might be an air regulator somewhere in the stove that I could get to, but I actually don't know. I might have to look that up. Eggs in, move immediately to keep the curds small. I find the BS&R Red Mountain number 7 size perfect for a 3-egg omelet. Okay, well, actually, considering both of that, maybe instead of using the Blacklock, as good as skillet it is, maybe I might indeed break out this number 6 Griswold, which is considerably smaller. Any objections to that? And we could always try that and see whether that helps or not. Yeah, Abel Skeevers, of course. You can make scrambled egg balls with sausage in the middle, or octopus balls here, takoyaki, as they call them there. All right, no objections there. All right, let's turn it on here and see what that does. There we go. Okay, good. I don't need to put it up that high, but high enough. All right, so that means this pan is going to have to heat up, and then we will continue from there. Is the top burner off a bit? Now this one here is not on. This one is still cooling off. This burner is not on. This is the only burner that is on, and it's just the angle of the camera that the pan looks like it's off center, when in fact I've got it centered about as good as I can get it. Although I might be able to just pull it in that way. Yeah, there we go. That might help. All right, that new pan made a big difference in the flame color. Hmm, that's certainly possible. All right, if you want something delicious and have time to waste, make scrambled eggs the classic way in a double boiler. The texture is out of this world. Well, that actually sounds interesting as well. So I meant the lid part of the burner. Um, Lid part of the burner? Oh, I see what you mean. That, yeah. It's certainly possible. As this, I might have to consider again. I might take this apart maybe after the live is over, and we'll see from there. BS&R omelet skillet. Yeah, that's the one that I almost got. I was almost able to score in a BS&R chef skillet. Of course, almost is really not good enough because yeah, I'm sure a lot of us have our we almost got it stories, and that was mine. The fact that I almost managed to get a BS&R skillet. Are you using any kind of oil? Well, I have been using margarine tonight, which is essentially vegetable oil. So I may want to. I'm not sure if I'm going to try that again, but so, on the other hand, as you pointed out, that would tend to brown. Yeah, that would tend to brown the eggs. Unfortunately, maybe that might be why. Okay. Well, the other option is I could go into the fridge and get some ghee, which is indeed clarified butter. Just got a new gas stove to replace this. Getting used to the burner. It's like a jet engine compared to what I had. Well, considering are all of the burners going or just that one? Well, let's move this one over and see. It looks like the answer is yes, unfortunately. So, yeah, there might indeed be some. There might be some kind of a regulator in the stove that I might have to find and adjust. Unfortunately, considering this is my first gas stove and I've had it now for going on 9 months, I'm new to a lot of this. Although I know very well that yeah, I know yellow flames are not the best. So all right, even so, well, I'm starting to feel some heat in this, if nothing else. And so far, we're already at over 400 degrees. So we're getting pretty good here. Ghee is clarified butter. All right, so the flavor is a bit different from regular old clarified butter. Well, that is true, but um, I'm I have the ghee. I unfortunately do not have the clarified butter on me at the moment. Um, so it means, I guess, ghee it is. And let me dig that out of the fridge right now. Here we are. Pure butter ghee. So we will work with that. All right. Well, that means we're getting close to that time, though. I mean, after all, this thing is already over 400. It's probably reaching 450 at this point. So I'd say that's good enough as a screaming hot pan, that's for sure. You'll wear out the automatic lighter. Okay, yeah, all of this advice I'm definitely going to have to take to heart. Okay, let's do this once again with our eggs. And that is, all right, here we go. One, plop. Two, much better. And three. All right, there we go. Boy, I've used all these eggs tonight. Well, that's what I expected. That's why I went out and got a large pack of eggs because I knew I was going to be playing around with eggs here. Meanwhile, this pan is starting to smoke. So we definitely are getting to what you call a screaming hot pan. So here's hoping that it all works. Just got to, again, run a dab of water into this to help loosen the eggs. Flub. All I need is just a tiny little dab of it. And with that, here we go again. Here comes the ghee, as you are saying. Let's see here. All right. I just need to clean the burners. Well, that's also certainly possible. Okay, a little bit there. A little bit here. I am in fact using ghee this time, not margarine, clarified butter. Still smoking up, and I can smell it though. Which means, as you say, this is going to be a race against time. Which means I should also get the cheese right over here. There we go. And with that, we're in a smaller pan. Bam. I'm wondering if maybe I used too much of it because I can see the way the sides are foaming up like that. Nonetheless, let's get this going as fast as we can. Get the cheese in there. Turn that heat down. All right, I've turned the heat down. But you said screaming hot pan. That's what I did. So now that we've done that, glove. All right. A little bit here, a little bit there. All right. Get the plate as fast as I can. In fact, I should probably even take it off the heat. There's a concept for you. Move this over. Come on. And whoop. Well, there we go again. It's still browned, but on the whole, I'd say it actually may have rolled off pretty good. Let me try it. Yeah, let me see if I can center this somehow. Still, this did not seem to be too bad an attempt, although it's still definitely browned. It definitely, I did not get it, I did not leave it yellow the way I was hoping. So, but on the whole, yeah. Okay, on the whole, I'd say it's not bad. I still think I would fail a French omelet course. Okay, you need to learn you don't fold it. You put, like you're using a squeegee and some wet comeback over the sides. Yeah, I can see I'm definitely going to have to practice that. So, but I mean, since I'm already in with 12 eggs at this point, I'm unfortunately, there's only so much practice I can get with these omelets, regrettably. Sorry to say, oh, cut it down the middle and open it. Okay, let's do that. Why not? Might as well. Let's see what happens. Let's get a good view here so everybody can see how successful or not successful it is. That means I need a knife. And the end result. Come on. Well, I'd have to say, if nothing else, the insides do not look congealed for whatever it's worth. So, even though the outside is brown, I'm not going to say it's a complete failure, although it still has a long way to go. Practice makes perfect. Yes, exactly. And anyway, I've said this enough times as well. You know the drill, the one that says that in cooking there are oops, and on top of all this, a leg came off my tripod. Let me put that back on. But yeah, in cooking, I like to say there are many there are a few disasters and many learning experiences. But fortunately, we can still eat the learning experiences. Boy, is that all too true. Today is egg day for me too. I made egg salad sandwiches for supper. Yeah, exactly. I'm definitely going to need help eating all these omelets. That's for sure. In fact, I'm probably going to just have to keep these in the fridge or maybe even freeze them, quite frankly. So I practice my omelet skills when I make scrambled eggs. That's not a bad plan in itself. Yeah, because at most I can probably have one of these omelets tonight, and that's about it. And that's as far as I'm going to go there. So Even so, this still has been a lot of fun. Oops, I better turn the heat off again. This thing is getting hot again. And not bad at all for a Griswold number 6, which incidentally does have that glass smooth surface that everybody was calling for. Um, Although, yet again, so far, I mean, the only one of these that did any kind of sticking was that first attempt at the French omelet. That was like about 2 omelets ago. I mean, after all, I've done 5 omelets tonight. So number one was the folded omelet. Number two was the tri-folded omelet. Number three was the first French omelet. That was the only one that even gave any semblance of sticking. And even then, the sticking was not what you would expect, because here is the again, here's the Blacklock skillet, and yes, here's the residue on the side that I'll need to clean off. But so far, there really has not been any major sticking on the bottom. Whoops! Don't want to drop this lid. I have a lid over here, which it turned out I have not used tonight. Likewise, the Griswold, that's still too hot to touch. As well, it's one thing I have not had any problems with tonight. Really, it's with the eggs sticking. Yeah, I'm currently cleaning the filthiest Griswold 9 in all of human history. Well, that's debatable. I mean, we've uncovered some real buried treasures here that have turned out to be Griswold. So, yeah, but still, even so, congratulations on scoring a Griswold number 9. I can only agree with that. So yes, that was certainly a real score for you tonight. Hmm. We're okay, Papa Dan. I'm just sick again. Is all. I'm sorry about that. That and one of those deep cut Griswold muffin pans that was full of rust in the cups and cobwebs. Ooh, I'm sorry to hear about that. If there's any pan at all in the wild that I am afraid of getting, it is a muffin pan when I find it, because I feel that of all the cast iron out there, probably I think the one that might have the greatest chance of having been used for lead might be a muffin pan. And now I'm not saying every muffin pan has lead, but I mean, lead sinkers, as you know, they're pretty popular fishing sinkers. And those muffin pans are absolutely perfect for making them. So, for that reason, that if I were to pick up a muffin pan in the wild, I would always want to test that muffin pan for lead. So, fortunately, I do have a BS&R muffin pan and a Wagner muffin pan, and both of them do not have lead in them, fortunately. But thank you for the comments as well on the omelets. I mean, as I said, they're definitely not restaurant quality. I've already given that speech enough times. I'm not a professional, I've said that enough times. And I'm not sorry so far with the results of these omelets tonight. I mean, I would certainly eat them myself, except that I shouldn't. I would serve them to guests. I'm not ashamed of that. All I can do is just keep on practicing. Yeah, bring the lead tester with you to Brimfield. Yeah, that would be a great way to get a bargain on a piece of cast iron, that's for sure. Hmm. So, yes. But I mean, yes, we have seen all kinds of cast iron pans being used to melt lead. I've seen skillets, Dutch oven. Well, when I say I've seen, most of the time I've seen it on YouTube. And if you go on YouTube, you will see it. You will see skillets. You will see Dutch ovens. I even saw a BS&R chicken fryer just a couple of weeks ago being used to melt lead from old shot. Yeah, in fact, I did. I actually showed that in one of my short videos. It seemed this guy regularly took his son onto the shooting range at his gun club, and they would pick up all of the spent shot, and then just gather it all together and melt it down to get the lead out in a BS&R chicken fryer. Well, that, for that, I can only say what I say in every instance of seeing things like that. And I know some folks are tired of me hearing this. It's his cast iron. He can do what he wants with it. But, well, that's certainly true, unfortunately. I say that for the people who clean their cast iron in a fire. I say that for that guy who's making a name for himself recently, polishing lodge skillets down to a mirror smooth finish. He could do what he wants with it. So I don't agree with it, but then again, it's not my cast iron. So, all right. Elephant's Trub, Miss Roadside Service Guy and Peg Tooth. Oh, yeah, yeah, that's true. Well, everybody is free really to come and go on this live on this channel, and so everybody has their own things that are going that they need to do. So, finally found the hot dog rolls for those Chicago hot dogs. Oh, really? Oh, you mean you've actually found those hot? What are they? Poppy seed hot dog rolls? Well, that's impressive then. Those I found it was actually pretty easy to simply make my own poppy seed rolls. And yeah, and I'll say once that I really love. Once again, I love those hot dog. Love those Chicago dogs. And Alma, I can only hope you do as well. So deep fryers get used for lead fairly often. Really? Huh. Okay. All right, and what else is in your area here? Yeah, they're still breaking cast iron law. Well, there is that, but since there is really no penalty for breaking cast iron law, other than the possibility, of course, that those lead-coated pans could end up out in the wild and could very well be used for cooking. Unfortunately, that's really the big thing to be worried about. But we've had this conversation before too. I actually saw a 10 3-notch lodge at the flea and an 8 lodge Dutch oven with a lid vintage, but he seemed to think lodge was Griswold. Yeah, I've had that experience as well. And in fact, that was how I scored my lodge deep fryer as well, the Sportsman deep fryer, the one with the duck emblem on the lid. I actually messaged the seller of that. He was trying to pass it off as a Griswold. I told him no, it's actually Lodge, and because of that, he let me buy it from him at a substantial discount. So that was how I managed to score the Lodge deep fryer I have there in my collection. And this weekend, of course, is Memorial Day. I'm thinking of breaking out one of those deep fryers and maybe making some fried chicken. I mean, everybody on Memorial Day loves doing, and there's nothing wrong with this. They love doing their burgers and their hot dogs and their steaks on Memorial Day, and that's great. America, nothing wrong with that. I love hot dogs. I love burgers, but I don't know. I feel like I'm starting to get the urge maybe to do some deep frying and make fried chicken this weekend. But we'll see how all that turns out. Hello, K Clock as well, joining late. Yes. Oh yeah. So far, it's been an interesting night as well. In that we've gone through 5 omelets, or maybe 4.5 omelets. In that they have been successful and passable omelets. None of them have been outstanding world class omelets, but they're all edible omelets, and I've no doubt they'll all taste delicious. So I'm still happy with how they have turned out. In fact, did your neighbors enjoy the giant cookie last week? Well, actually, I haven't spoke with them since then. Largely because, well, of course, I'm at work and they're at school, and everybody's got their own things to do. But if I say hi to them this weekend, I'll ask about that. So. What we cooking for Memorial Day? Well, as I just mentioned, I'm starting to get the urge, I think, to actually maybe do some outdoor deep frying. Now that the weather is getting nice, I could actually deep fry outside and not get grease all over my kitchen. Now that's certainly something to consider, I think. Not the big deep fryers, the small pot deep fryers with the bale wire. Oh, those, yeah, just about for a lead pot. I see. I understand what you're saying. And well, that's just something we just have to be aware of course, when we're out on the hunt for vintage cast iron. So, is it okay to ask about trouble? Well, I can only say, unfortunately, that he never showed up, and I'm sorry to say that, but that was just what happened. It was on May 8th. So we're actually talking 3 weeks in now, unfortunately. Quite literally, he just went out one evening. I went to bed, and that was it. I'm unfortunately he disappeared, and I haven't seen him. So I'm sorry to say, but well, I mean, all I can do is just keep on going. So, and I do have Miss Mobley. I'd have to do my best to comfort her too. So, oh well. Yeah, when I say oh well, I mean it's more like yeah, I miss trouble, but unfortunately, I just have to keep on going. Okay, Terry Sinchaf, I've tested every piece of used iron and never found lead. I will keep testing because it's not worth the risk. Yeah, there is that. Yeah, I hope we found a new home too. That's all I can say. Trouble was very friendly. It's possible he may have been a. No, well, it's possible, but really, I mean, it's like I'll keep that hope, but I just have to accept the fact that it's not really likely. So, okay. Anyway, Clico, yeah, that's right. I have a male cat. Yeah. Anyway, I did check with animal control, I'm afraid, and no, he was not. They actually told me that apparently, when I told them where I live, they said that they know of a person in my neighborhood who has been catching stray cats and bringing them to cat shelters. I've called all of the shelters all around in my in my area. None of them have him. So, all right. Well, Trouble's a male and he's neutered. So, okay. Anyway, chili dogs are on the menu for Monday, and yeah, that sounds pretty good. But as I said, I'm kind of getting the urge. I might actually take the time and effort to do some deep frying. So, and again, do it outside so that I don't get grease all over everything. So, are you and Mudbrook going to do another joint live stream again? Well, I suppose, yeah, I would be up for it if he was interested. So, I don't see why not. Hmm. All right. Oh, damn. I'm sorry about that, Captain Kirk. Okay, but yeah, I'm getting away from that subject now, and because really, I'm really not trying to get pity here in this. It's more like I'm saying it just to let everybody know because it meant a lot. And thank you very much for the kind words, folks. But I do my best not to get too much of my personal life here onto YouTube. There are some people, some drama queens, and I'm saying male and female, who really exist. It seems like their entire online life is drama, is like complaining about this and that and the other thing, and yeah, I've had enough of that, and I do my best to try to avoid it. In fact, if I told you folks some of the crap I went through in my personal life in the past year, okay. Anyway, back to that subject. Okay, yeah, it would be fun. Hard to say what my schedule is going to do. Do you have a cast iron grill to do some grilling? Um, well, I do have the grill top to my large deep fryer. I will say that the lid on the underside of the lid, that is actually a grill pan. I don't yet have an actual grill. I have not yet taken the time to go and get a grill, largely because I guess I've had so many other things going on. So I suppose if I were to find a sportsman grill out in the wild, I may actually consider getting it, but I haven't found one yet, unfortunately. So, hmm. Yard cooking with the neighbors over can be good fun. Well, I'm kind of thinking if I do some deep frying, that may be what ends up happening because after all, deep frying. If you're gonna deep fry, do it big. And I'm not just. And the main reason why I'm saying it is because it takes a lot of effort. And so, and I certainly have the capability as well to make a whole bunch of chicken. And I've done it before. I've made like 20 pieces of chicken in one evening once, for instance. So if I was going to make 20 pieces of chicken, yeah, I definitely would have to share it with the neighbors. No question about that. So, you can make a ceiling cast iron rack. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's get on with a one last subject, I guess, before calling this an evening. So, because I would rather, if nothing else, as I said, I have had some fun at least making these omelets. I will say that. Boy, this Griswold is still. I still need to use a glove on this, even after all this time here. So, making that, and yeah, using this one as well to make that omelet. It turned out to be what is this? Oh, that's just a little piece of egg. Actually was fairly successful. So but like you said, all I can do is keep on practicing. Still, things considered, that it maybe I might even consider, if I were to look for another chef skillet, I might look for a smaller one for precisely the reason you say. I mean, I know, for instance, Wagner had different size chef skillets, so maybe that's something I might need to keep in mind, like a 9-inch chef skillet rather than a 10, for instance. So, okay, okay, Dave Fullerton, I'm not going to comment on that. Thank you. So, um, hello, Mudbrooker, Joe Moore. Okay, I used to have a pegboard with hooks for the cast iron. Everybody go to Corey's for the big fish fry, I think Labor Day. Well, we will keep that in mind. Just be sure to invite all of us, all of the 49,000 people on my YouTube channel. So, all right. Okay, enough. Everybody, let's end that particular topic here, because you folks did ask me, and I did say what the result was. Let's not turn this into into a mourning session. I mean, yes, our pets do deserve to be mourned, but I'm asking that we not do it here. Okay, my dad had a Sportsman grill in the mid '60s. Wish I knew what he did with it. Yeah, I'm I have this very vague memory of my grandmother having a cast iron grill, and even though I knew nothing about it, um, I my memory keeps telling me it may have been the Griswold logo. I'm not sure if Griswold ever made a grill in the manner of the Sportsman grill or not, but it's only a very vague and distant memory from when I was really young and didn't know anything about cast iron. So maybe my memory might be faulty, because that's certainly the case. Yeah, Corey will start charging. All right, but we are getting on close to that time anyway, nonetheless. So, if nothing else, at least I do like how these omelets turned out. So, yes, and thank you as well for your advice as well on the French omelet too. So, the benefit of practice cooking is that you get to eat. Well, there is that exactly. So, I mean, in fact, I've got to be careful not to overeat. If nothing else, too, as well, we've got Memorial Day weekend coming up, and then of course there is next Wednesday as well. I kind of want a cast iron grill, but I wouldn't want to take care of it with my health issues. Well, okay, there there is that to consider. Um, I've already gotten it into my head that next week as well, I'm going to go and do something different, which I have made before, but it's been a while. And that is, we're going to be going veggie next week, and I'm going to be making some ratatouille, because that's a lot of fun to make. And it's actually pretty easy. I've liked the results when I've made it, so I figure doing this on the live video next week should be interesting. My daughter got a Blacklock grill. What a beauty! Well, congratulations on that, and don't forget about the holiday. Everybody, enjoy it. Yes, exactly. Enjoy your holiday. That's the important thing, everybody. So, yeah, my baby boy is home from the Air Force for 10 days, so we're celebrating him being home and Memorial Day. So I'm excited for Saturday. Well, congratulations on that, Kimberly. There you go. That there is an excuse. Will Anton Ego be stepping by next week? Well, that depends. If you want to play the role of Anton Ego, feel free. Hmm. But yeah, Ratatouille is definitely one of my favorite movies. I mean, it's because not just because the food in it is so good, the cooking in it is so accurate. It is really definitely an outstanding movie, and I'm more than happy that Ratatouille seems to have been named after the movie because Ratatouille originally used to be just like a vegetable stir fry, um, and and it was because of that movie now that Ratatouille is associated with that really fancy dish. And I think it deserves it because I think it was a wonderful movie. So anyone can cook. That is true. Yes. And considering that, I'd say we'll probably have to be heading out because we are getting into that time as well. So I can only thank everybody for enjoy. I hope you enjoyed my attempts at making omelets here. Next week, again, when we do ratatouille, I definitely know we'll be having a lot of fun as well. Especially since I've got a method for making ratatouille in cast iron. I've done it several times, and I'm looking forward to doing it live next week as well. So it involves tortilla shells because I know folks will ask, how do you prevent the tomato sauce on the base from affecting the cast iron? That's how I use tortilla shells. So, and well, I do hope everybody liked it, enjoyed themselves tonight, and we will all get together and do this again next week. So, thank you, everybody, for coming by. For Debbie and Alma Wasilewski and Papa Dan and Rocky Caver and 4M Morris family and so many others. And yeah, and especially thank you for showing up because, as I said before, it's really you folks being here is what makes these live videos so much fun. I think so. So thank you again and happy holiday, everybody. And yes, and I did the Jacques Pepin chicken deboning and stuffed trust recently. Oh, like the most decadent roast chicken ever. Okay, yeah. Well, thank you, everybody, and we'll all just enjoy your evening, folks. And like I say every time as well, see you next Wednesday.